Hello, welcome to the software testing class. How are you? Are you fine? Do you have my voice? Okay. Okay. Excuse me for my delay. I wait for your friends to log in the class. Until other your friends attend to the class, I asked some question about the previous lecture. How was the first lecture? Was it understandable for you? Low sound. Low sound. The sound is okay. Okay. Can you tell me how was the first lecture? Was it understandable for you? Who wants to speak? I enable his microphone. You want to speak? I want to enable your mic. The mic of all of you enabled, and you can speak by your mics. Please tell me about the previous lecture. How do you get access the recording easily? some of your friends couldn't get the recording via this LMS. Mr. Ahmad, your mic is enabled. Oh, one of your friends promised to share the record. One of your friends in WhatsApp group promised me to share the record. Some of your friends have access to the recording, but some of yours not. I don't know what. I asked from Dr. Rahmani to check the permissions of your users, but I have no reply from him. Okay, I planned this session at first to answer your questions about the first record, but some of you don't see the record, didn't see the record, unfortunately. Then I want to talk about your study and presentation project. I wait for your questions. Please type your questions. If you don't want to speak by microphone, you can type your questions about the previous lecture. Who saw the previous lecture? Okay, there is no question about the previous lecture, so I talk about your study and presentation project, and ask some and answer some of your questions that typed in WhatsApp group. What's the difference between a bug? Okay. The bug term is used informally in speaking in some informal texts. In formal software testing text, the bug is meaningless, but in informal speaking, sometimes the bug is used instead of fault, sometimes used for error, sometimes used for software failure. But in formal texts, I didn't see the term bug in formal articles, formal papers, in specialized journals. So we don't use the term bug in this course. This term just used in the dialogues used in speaking by not specialized persons. Okay. Okay. But some of you asked about the study and presentation project. Note that this project has several advantages for you. I want to remember these advantages as I believe, as I experienced in this area. First of all, you should know that the goal of postgraduate education is to reach the frontiers of the knowledge and technologies and expand them. So the first goal of postgraduate education, as you know, is to reach the frontiers of knowledge and technologies, and at the same time expand them. So this could be realized by reviewing the reports of the latest achievements published in the world's prestigious scientific and technical journals in various fields of science and technology. So for this important thing, we have provided you with a collection of up-to-date articles related to topics of the course. As you know, I sent it for you yesterday. Second advantage is that you will be familiar with the structure of a scientific article, as well as you will be acquainted with a number of specialized journals in this field, and finally you have a practice on reading journal papers. By doing this project, by doing this practice, you reach this goal. You will be familiar with the several parts of the software of journal articles. You will be familiar with journals, specialized journals. You will be familiar with how to define a research project in a specialized field, and so on. So this is the second advantage of this project. As I believe, the third advantage is that you will be experienced a research process and learn, for example, how to define a scientific or technical problem, or how to present a solution for a problem, for a specific problem. Or you should learn how to approve your solution and how to evaluate its performance technically. Okay. Another usage of this project is you should learn, will be learn which research methodology could be used in each type of problems in our major. Okay. Or the another advantage or the another usage of this project under this major advantage is you should know that what tools and data set could be useful in each field of study. What tools and data set could be used in software testing, in, for example, fault localization problem, in fault prediction problem, in test data generation, in malware detection for various platforms such as cloud, such as IoT, Internet of Things, such as web-based applications. Okay. So the third advantage is that you will be experienced with research process and learn how to use tools, how to use what tools will be useful, how solution should be presented, how approve the solutions, how evaluate your solutions, and so on. As I believe, the fourth advantage of this project is that in your practical implementation of a selected paper, you will learn how to work with a specific tool, how to work with a special data set, how download and install some extra tools in your field. Okay. And the last advantage, as I believe, is that in this stage, in this education program, when you reach to the thesis stage, you are familiar with several topics and you can define your thesis very quickly. Okay, this is very valuable, very good for you, very valuable. This is a big advantage of this project. So you should practice this study and presentation in our course, and I believe that is the best experience for you, and you can finish your education program just on time. You have no delay. You can be familiar with research works in other universities all over the world. You can see some laboratories and institutes all over the world, and you can find position for your PhD education or for working all over the world. So this is an important subject for me in this class, and you can set time for this work, and you need to some hard working, and I do my best in familiar you with some aspects of the work in our lectures. I want to better introduce some concepts, some basic rules in software testing by my lectures in our teaching program. So I think we could have a good experience in your class, and I learn from you some solutions, some problems, new problems, up-to-date solutions, some tools how to work, and against I will learn to you some tools as I know in this course. There is a question in the chat box. Can I choose the Internet of Things to make presentation, and is it possible for me, for more than one student, to choose the same subject? Yes, no problem. You can work on Internet of Things. As you have seen, I send you some papers in this area, especially on let me see, I open some of the papers before class. Okay, for example, this paper is about in topic of Internet of Things, a systematic review on deep learning approaches for IoT security. You can work on this paper, and it's a very good paper. As you know, this paper is published in 2021. This is a very good paper. This is a newest publishment in this area, and as you know, this paper is accepted in 22 February this year. So you can work on this paper, and for review articles there is no problem. Two students work on the same paper, or two students work on the same topic but different papers. Okay, there is no problem. Just you should select as soon as possible and start to work on the paper. And in these classes, as I want to record the lectures offline, so we have time to work together on the papers in official times that defined by university for this course. This class times could be set for working on your papers, on your subjects, or check your advancements in your studying. Okay. Another question. Some of you asked me what about the presentation? How you should present your work? Two students could make one presentation, but each of you should present one part of your presentation. Note that some papers, such as this paper you have seen, is a very extended paper. This has several approaches. This introduces several approaches, and each of its approach should be worked deeply. Especially this paper worked on deep learning approaches, and probably you don't pass any course in this area, so you should learning this topic. I introduce you some courses about deep learning or machine learning. If you have no information about learning approaches, you could see some lectures, some online free lectures to learn about machine learning, about deep learning. And these topics are very extensive and very wide for you, so you can work with your friend. There is no problem. For example, for deep learning, I have searched an online course. I introduce it for you. This is the online course. The course page is in Persian, but the course material and presentation is in English. As you can see, this presentation.
That's machine learning. It's a science of getting computers to learn without being explicitly programmed. One of the research projects that I'm working on is getting robots to type in the house. How do you go about doing that? Well, what you can do is have the robot watch you demonstrate the task and learn from that. The robot can then watch what objects you pick up with.
I will introduce you some lectures, some known lectures in the world about machine learning, for example, about deep learning, and you could set time for seeing these lectures, and you have a better presentation, you have a deep study on your topic. So this is very good for some topics, for some papers. Two of you work on the same paper or same topic with two articles. How many slides of presentation for a typical paper? About 20 to 30 slides is enough. In your presentation, each of you have about 20 minutes for presentation and 10 minutes for answer questions of your friends or my questions. Okay, altogether you have about 30 minutes for a presentation with answering the questions. The page is untranslated. You didn't got this page, the machine learning in Persian, but the lecture, you don't see the lecture. Oh, okay. Have you got this lecture?
You have to do the same thing even when you aren't there. For me, one of the reasons I'm excited about this is the AI or artificial.
Okay. Any question? Can you give us an idea of this material? Doctor, what do you do? Is it a mini thesis or what? No, it is not a mini thesis. You just try to study a report of a research work, but you don't have any innovation. You don't present your own solution for a problem. In your thesis you should diagnose a new problem, and you should do your best on your own solution and approving your solution, and you should have some innovation. But in this project, just you read a paper, but this reading is deeply. You have a deeply reading. You present the experience of research work from other persons, not from your own. So this is not a mini thesis. This is just a reading, just a study. But I hope you have a deep study in this project. This is, as I talk with you, this is very valuable, as I believe. Okay, repeat the video. Okay.
What is machine learning? You probably use it dozens of times a day without even knowing it. Each time you do a web search on Google or Bing, that works so well because their machine learning software has figured out how to rank web pages. When Facebook or Apple's photo application recognizes your friends and your pictures, that's also machine learning. Each time you read your email and a spam filter saves you from having to wade through tons of spam. Again, that's because your computer has learned to distinguish spam.
This professor is a native English language, has a native English language, English speaking, and you don't have problems as you have with me. So this is a very good lecture for machine learning, and I will introduce you some videos about deep learning for those of you who select a paper related to machine learning. No force that all of you seeing this video. This video just for ones who want to study a paper related to machine learning. But other papers which have not used these techniques, these approaches, there is no forces to learn about machine learning. So this is arbitrary. Okay. Another question. Okay, as I said, the purpose of this session is to just answer your questions about your projects and answer your questions about the previous lecture. If you have any questions about the previous lecture, you can ask it, and I try to answer in with the different words, with different sentences, so that you got the concept. Can you explain faulty and failure and errors with example, simple example? Okay, this example, as you see in my slide, is a very, very simple example. You note that we define a software fault as a static defect. What is a static defect? A static defect is a wrong statement in your code. This is a wrong statement. This is syntactically true, but an incorrect value is set to this variable. As you see in my video, this method should detect the sign of its input. So for do this, a sign variable is defined and x is compared with 0. If x is less than 0, the sign would be negative. Correctly set this statement. This statement is written correctly, but in else part you know that this statement is incorrect, because in else part x is greater than 0. When x is greater than 0, then x is non-negative. So in this statement, the sign variable should be assigned by non-negative string or positive string. The return value should be non-negative, or the return value should be positive instead of negative. So this statement is an incorrect statement. An incorrect statement is a static defect. Okay. Let me explain software failure and software error for your friend. Then I answer your questions. But what about the software failure? We define software failure as incorrect behavior. What's the behavior of this method? The behavior of this method is detecting the sign of its input and return it as output. When the output is true, the behavior is true. When the output is wrong or incorrect, the behavior is incorrect. When the output is incorrect, we have failure. My method fails on its computation. Okay? When we have incorrect output on some method call for concrete value, we have a wrong output, we have an incorrect behavior for this method. So we say that we have a software failure of our method fail in its computation because the output value is incorrect for a special input. Okay? Have you got software failure? Okay. But what's the software error? What's the software error? As I said in the lecture, a software error is an incorrect internal state. For got this sentence, we should define internal state. What's the internal state of a program? Each program has several internal variables such as counter, its temporary variables, and so on. So its internal state is defined by value setting on internal variables at a special time, at a specific time. So if my program in one of its statement at a specific time have variables with incorrect value, we say that my program in an error state or in an incorrect state. Okay, the incorrect state is result of execution of some faulty statement. If my program has some faulty statement or a static defect in the source code, or fed it with incorrect inputs, fed with invalid inputs, the program may go to an incorrect internal state. So we say that the program in error state. The error state, as I said, is the result of the execution of some software fault, and the error state could lead to software failure. Actually, we could define software if error before software failure, but this order is used by Professor Afut, and I don't change the order of them. So the software fault lead to software error, and software error leads to software failure. But how software error leads to software failure? When my program executes its statements one by one, and some initial statements setting some variables to a wrong value, these values may be published, may be propagated across the execution path, and later variables may be used this wrong value for their computations. Okay, And if the final state states of a program change by each statement execution. If the final state of the program has some variables incorrect, some variables with incorrect value, with wrong values, and these wrong values showed to the user achieve the incorrect behavior. The user saw incorrect behavior, and the user conclude that the behavior of the software of the program is incorrect, and the program fails in its computation. Okay. I hope my explanation is enough proper for you, for all of you. But the later questions, the caliper could be a white PDF, not blue, so we can. I don't got it. My screen is there. My screen is a slide. The next question is how to send the file to the Telegram page, and what's the time to submit the presentation. I would provide you with a schedule for your presentation. Don't worry about this matter. As you select and write to me your papers, then I make a schedule regard to the work needed for each paper. Some papers need to working more working and need more time, so my schedule see this problem. So you should introduce me your paper, your topic as soon as possible to schedule, to set in a schedule table, a timetable. Download this lecture in LMS. Some of your friends cannot download the lecture. As I tried yesterday, I can't do it also, and I asked from Dr. Rahmani to tell me some other way to send you the lectures, the recording, and I wish he answer me soon. Your presentation should be presented in PowerPoint slides, no PDF. Okay. Another question. Mr. Ahmad, you can speak by your mic. So if you have no any questions, let me to